Hey guys, this is your suitably Brian Hang, and we are back after a while for more suitable conversations. And yeah, man, I think the my first take would be to give a big shout out to content creators, YouTubers, TikTokers, the whole lot. Um, that's a job and a half, and I gotta give shout out to them because uh, it takes a lot, man. It takes a lot to create these, be it humor, be it fashion, be it lifestyle. All of these things they take a lot to create, and I just thought, you know what, it's not easy. And these people, when we see them, crashing out or whatever, or they have a reason why, because it's a job to them and all of that. So it's pretty much important to acknowledge them as what they are doing. It's a job. It's not just fun and games. Maybe some is, but I think if you see the consistency in how these people are doing what they're doing, you can see this is a job for these people. These people are not clocking in the office somewhere reporting for duty. Maybe some are, and props to those who have a 9 to 5 and still be able to create content, because hey, here's some of us here. We came out. We tried to to keep up with the consistency, but the life we're living in, there's so much that is happening that somewhere somehow you wanna prioritize and juggle things, but obviously the priorities, you know you want to set them according to how your life is going, and yeah, man, it's a lot, because I look at with me. I tried to pick up from where we left off with the blog, and it was at that time when I was creating this content, uh, of which it was written. you know it was at that time I wasn't working. I didn't have a 9 to 5, um, and with that said, it was easier for me to have a thought and put it in writing. you know However, even now, there are those thoughts that come through for me to voice them out visually. However, it gets hectic nowadays, especially after the COVID or the pandemic period. Things have changed. People are trying to catch up from the loss, catch up from the time lost. So it kind of makes it difficult for one to to juggle content creation and 9 to 5 or whatever business that you're into. you know like I said, that shout out to those guys who have a 9 to 5 and still be able to create content, or even the students, because I'm seeing on social media there's these students that he or she is studying and still able to make time to create content. And yeah, be it that content is paying them or not, for me, I give them a round of applause, because it's a lot. So I thought, especially since um, I came and there was a bit of a month disappearance from me, you know it, it was suitable to start there, just to say, at that time, things. I could create content without, a lot of work, and being under pressure with work, or having to juggle work and this. And yeah, I mean, and it's also when you look at how we are seeing graduates, it's people nowadays you're seeing this person is graduating. I only see also this person going to work, coming back, and shooting content. When did this person get a chance to study? And so a lot of those, you can see how, like, people have this, ability to manage time and prioritize the important things in their lives. So yeah, man, shout out to them. And yeah, I just wanted to start there, and also to look at how back then, things were so easy, especially pre-COVID. As I said that, pre-COVID, I could travel, and I won't say it was easy, but it was. I had a ability to save for the trips that I would want to do. And when I say trips, like the international trip, like going to Pitti Uomo in Italy, and I remember the first one was like, it cost me like, and I'm talking the main things like flights, accommodation, visas, cost me like nothing more than 15K. And when I tell my mates, they're like, not a chance would that cost you that. But at the end of the day, when we do these trips, and even if it's Devon July, even if it's whatever it may be, just going to Devon, you are in a creative space. You are going there to somewhat create content as well, and that the type of content that you're going to be creating, do you want to create a luxurious content, or you want to focus on what's going to be happening at that event, or event that you're going to. So things are different, even if it's just a vacation. Again, you have your style of content that you want to put out there. Sometimes it's just like hotel interior and aesthetics, those type of things. Somebody might not necessarily focus on the hotel aesthetics. They may focus on attraction sites to where they are going. So they might stay in a backpackers hostel and go see luxurious places out there. Or they might stay in a luxurious place and create content of that place that they are staying at, and that's it. So there's a lot of styles of content creation, and again, at the moment we're talking traveling, and you're trying to see what is it that I am going to focus on, and how am I going to prioritize my traveling. And for me, accommodation was not such a big deal. I just wanted the bed and a closet or a wardrobe where I can put all my outfits in there, and a shower, so I can sleep, wake up, take a shower, steam my clothes, iron my clothes, get them ready, dress up, walk out. Because when I get to the event, how I'm dressed won't tell that I'm coming from a hostel or a 5-star hotel. We are all the same when we are there. So it's again prioritizing us to say which one at this moment is, do I need to stay at a 5,000 euros hotel or 1,000 euros a night hotel? Nah, I don't have to. I can stay at the hotel that is costing me, say, 500 euros for, say, 5 nights or 4 nights, because I know PT is 4 days, So I'd arrive, say, Monday, and then Tuesday it starts, Friday it ends, and leave on Saturday, and try and do the most that I can do with all of that, and that's just it. But I know the main attraction is at Forteza da Basso, so whether I'm staying at the hostel, it's not going to be on the content, the content is there, on the streets, with all these suitable gentlemen from all over the world, so whether I'm staying at a 5-star hotel or a backpackers hostel, that one is irrelevant, so that's that, so so that was me when I was traveling and prioritizing these things. But come COVID-19 and after COVID-19, I actually said to myself that after COVID, I'm not seeing myself traveling to P2 Rome or anywhere in Europe with how the prices just went up. It was crazy. Like for the first trip, I spent nothing more than 15K, and to go back there, it's gonna cost me like 20K for just a flight ticket. I still have accommodation. I mean, these prices don't stay the same. Even like your hotel prices, they went up. Even recently now, I saw the last time I was there, how much I paid for the hotel. It was crazy. It went high, very high compared to the last time I went there. Sometimes, of course, it's seasons. When you're gonna go there during the winter edition, accommodation is cheap, but flights are expensive. And flights are gonna be expensive because you are buying a flight ticket for the period that is a peak period. So December, January is peak period when you are buying a flight ticket in South Africa, because you are in the southern hemisphere and it's summer. So everything around that time that you are gonna be buying for that time, it's expensive, So when you are buying a ticket to go to Italy in June, the flight tickets are cheaper because you are probably going to be buying it around March, towards winter, and you are buying a ticket for the winter season, which is in South Africa at that time is winter season, but in Europe it's summer. So obviously when you are there, now the accommodation is expensive, so those are some of the things you want to look at. That okay, it's summer, there's P2 Womo, there's so many things happening during that time, so we are probably sleeping like 2-3 hours. The sun rises early. There's photographers and content creators who would like to collaborate and create content before it gets busy in the streets. So by 5 o'clock you are up, getting ready, going to shoot, and then you are back at Forteza da Basso, doing all the rounds and everything there. And then right after then is cocktail parties and after parties and all until late, and then you go in, take a shower, sleep, wake up again, so you look at that. Do you need a fancy accommodation? Not really, because you're not even spending time in that, so there's no need of spending that much on a fancy accommodation that you are not going to consume. And when I mean consume, of course, it's like you're gonna wake up in the morning, create content, take a shower, you're in the room, go to the restaurant in the hotel, and there's no time for that because the things are happening out there, So that's that. Maybe in winter you can look at that, because in winter you're gonna go to the trade fair, and then after the trade fair, one or two cocktail events or dinner events happening, and then from there back to the hotel. You want to be at the nice, comfortable, because it's cold in Europe in January. So those are the things. But like I said, that there was a time when I saw that I'm like, I'm not paying this amount of money. This is a lot. So it gets to a point where then when you get that opportunity that you can be able to now catch up on the things that you could not do during COVID, or catch up on the things that you used to do pre-COVID. You take that opportunity, and when you take that opportunity, you start prioritizing as to which one am I taking. Am I gonna be traveling, or am I gonna start building my wardrobe, or whatever it may be. So that's why I'm saying, amen, this time around, things are different, and we've learned a lot thanks to the pandemic. We are doing things differently, and yeah, it's interesting times, because you can prioritize certain things to be able to do other things, so you'd rather say, I still want to travel, but in me wanting to travel, I'll probably downgrade on, say, the lifestyle. I don't want to mention things. I'll say just downgrade on the lifestyle, and just so that to be able to travel. So those are the things. And when it comes to traveling, man, I don't know about you guys, but hey, man, traveling is, like anybody would say, traveling is nice, right? It's good experience and all of that. But and one thing about traveling, it opens your perspective. You see things differently. You get to see other places, other countries. Somewhat social media doesn't give you the full picture. I myself, I won't give you the full picture of the places I go to. You'll see all the nice places, because I'm trying to align them with the content I'm trying to create. So there's no need for me to be shooting a taxi rank, or so I'll try and I'll take the taxi, but no need for me to take. There are people who create that type of content, but every content has its own style and all of that. So I'm probably focusing on menswear and fashion and all of that, and so things are different. So, but I'll tell you what, traveling, it opens up your perspective. You see things differently. You get to understand cultures. You get to understand people. You get to understand a lot of things, currencies, times, so it's good. But I think for me, when it comes to traveling, God, the airport. There's nothing that gives me heebie-jeebies like the airport. I think it's because I still have the trauma of missing my flight. Well, I remember the first time I flew. I was flying to Cape Town. Was it Cape Town? I think it was Cape Town, if not Durban. Yeah, no, it was Cape Town, because I thought, I could drive to Durban. So my first flight would definitely be Cape Town. I missed my flight, and I learned the hard way that now you have to buy your ticket, and now it's flipping expensive. So these things, like, flying to Cape Town from Joburg, it's okay. It's an hour, 2 hour flight, check in, check out. Start flying international, and you'll see the admin and the stress, of, especially with me, because usually with me, I wouldn't use a travel agent, because I have this mindset of, I've done tourism, and as a subject in school, in tertiary, so somebody's got to benefit from helping you to find a perfect or a convenient traveling, or whatever it may be, so that would cost more. So I usually do things myself, like Google flights, and again, me Googling flights and all of that is me trying to save costs, try to be cost effective. Again, being cost effective can be risky, because you are looking at things like there's these insurances that in case something happens of emergency, are you insured that if you want a refund you can get? These are like, they add up to that your flight ticket, luggage, how much luggage you want. Do you want extra luggage? For instance, when you're traveling, going to PT during winter, you're packing coats, you're packing 3 pieces, heavy fabric, tweeds, and cashmeres. Those things are heavy, so when you start packing, you can't go there with 1 pair of shoes. There's gotta be like 3 pair of shoes, that you're gonna be changing each day, so it's heavy, you are gonna be putting like sweatpants and hoodies in there for the evening or for the morning before you go, so it gets heavy. So you find yourself, you don't have a scale in the house, so you'll be packing and packing and packing. After you've packed, you get to the airport, you put the thing there, and imagine this, you've wrapped your luggage bag, then you get to the checking in, you put it there. Maybe your limit was like 23 kgs. You get there, your stuff is like 32 kg. Like, ha, and they don't play. Or Tambo, they don't play. Like, I would say you're gonna have to pay extra luggage. How much? Like 400, 500 rands. Like, you already, to somebody 500 would not be a big deal, but to somebody else 500, it can do so much, already is crippling the budget, already, and you haven't gone anywhere. So it's these small things that, and then when you get there, you're checking in, they start asking you about visas, you go to the border control there, you get there, they looking at you funny, they're stamping, and it's you are leaving. Imagine when you start connecting and getting the other side, when they start asking you questions, you are pushing the trolley, somebody just comes there and they start asking you, where are you going? They are officials, airport officials, they will ask you, they have a right to ask you these questions. As interrogative as it can be, they have a right. They start asking you, where are you going? How many days? Can I see your passport? Open up the passport. Visa, they're checking. Now you start getting worried, and with all these crime syndicates happening, and you start thinking, when you're putting your stuff there and it's going into the X-ray, you are thinking, you just start hearing, you don't know that it's a good or a bad thing, but you just hear a beeping sound, and you don't know anybody who works at the airport. You ask them, when it's beeping like this, is it a good thing or a bad thing? You are about to find out when you are there. When you are there, then they start telling you that we need to open your luggage and check, and they open up. Things like you packed in your perfumes and your sun lotion to say, this one is not allowed, it's flammable, or whatever the case may be, especially like colognes. People working at airports, I'm sure their houses are full of these fragrances, because the chances are they're not gonna take these things and throw them away. They're gonna keep them for themselves. Especially the new ones. I remember me the first time when I was going to Italy, I my toiletry was in my carry-on luggage, and I got there, found from the X-ray, took out toiletry bag, and like, this one, the lotion is going, this is going, fragrance going. I'm like, these things I haven't even used them. I just bought them. See, now it's a challenge now. So it's one of those things that you get to learn these things as you start traveling, and it's good, and you get to learn things, like I said, currencies and all of that. And you start calculating how much you are spending. I remember there was one PT Uomo that I went to, and we were talking about this, me and the guys, and the gents were like, hey, my man, there was a time before we went to PT, we started in France, we went to Paris, and we started shopping there. By the time we have finished and we are now ready to go to Italy, we had to have a meeting to say, this must stop, spending like, these things are for free, we are paying for these things, and you spend a lot, because sometimes you just swiping, only to realize, yes, is this how much I just spent, So it's these things that you wanna. Some people say, I wanna enjoy my vacation or whatever, so I'm not gonna keep converting, but in my years in the golfing space, I've interacted with golfers coming from abroad and coming this side, and they would stand there and do calculations of green fees, golf balls, whatever that they may be buying, and just to see that obviously they are looking at the golf course like, this golf course is similar to maybe St. Andrews or whatever the case might be. They're like, I can't be paying so much for this golf. Whether it's they are there, they're gonna pay, but they start knowing that, okay, since I'm paying so much for this, I'm gonna have to cut on this, on that. For instance, with me, I knew that when I go to Europe, as much as I've spent so much, I'm gonna be cutting on just maybe food. There'll just be either breakfast. I fill up with breakfast, then throughout the day, buying of food and anything like that, I'll just be I would just probably be eating nibbles at these cocktail parties, or somebody might say I'm a cheapskate, but these are some of the things, guys. When you start traveling, you wanna be cost safe. Try and make sure that coming back, you don't wanna be having headache of, I can't believe this is how much I spent. Things are tough now. Imagine you went traveling, let's say in February 2020. You went on a vacation, be it Cape Town. You get there, you splash, you spend, and then boom, come March, COVID-19 hits in. There's lockdown, businesses are shutting down, job contracts are ending, and you are part of the victim. You were spending money knowing that, no, I'll make it up. Next month I'm working, get a salary, But when things like this starts happening, you find yourself, in a compromising situation. So you start looking at these things and like, so yeah, man. I just thought, man, I'll just check in, reach out, and yeah, I mean, I think this conversation is quite a long one, and we'll catch up again with this regard, because I know this time of the year, this is September, this is spring in the southern hemisphere. People are starting to, go out traveling and all of that. Some people already planned for their travels and all of that. So it's good to have this conversation as to some of the things that one can start looking out for when they're going to be traveling, be it locally, be it internationally. So yeah, we will catch up again, and yeah, just you know just fill each other with these ideas that somebody might help them. So yeah, until next time, take care. Cheers.